Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal preview show, a show in which we look ahead to the next Arsenal fixture. I'm very much looking forward to this one in particular. It is the North London derby, in which we'll be facing Tottenham at the Emirates Stadium, in which Spurs, of course, have not had a result of a winning sense since 2010. It's been nearly 13 years we've managed to stave off Tottenham, and we're hoping to make it continue for a very, very long time further. As always, with our preview shows, we're joined by three fantastic guests from our Discord server. Let's introduce you to those people. First of all, joining us from not just across the pond, but across the world, it's Mike. How you doing, Mike? You good? You well?
I'm doing very well, thanks, Tom. Yep, good day to you all. Hope you're well.
Absolutely, good to see you. Are you enjoying the season so far?
I am enjoying the season so far. Yes, I particularly the other night, of course. That warmed me heaps. Probably got rid of a few concerns that were just starting to niggle a bit.
Champions League can do that. It was it was emotional to see and hear the anthem played again at the Emirates Stadium. We're also joined by Marcus. How you doing, Marcus? Good, you well?
Evening, Tom. I'm well, and you? And hello, everyone out there.
All good. I see you did get the memo regarding the shirt, but it's in the background rather than the.
Yeah, it was a bit colder today here, so yeah, it's on the side. But at least you can see it back there. So.
And I can see our third guest frantically looking around to see if it's nearby. Dan, how you doing, my friend?
Afternoon, evening, everyone. You okay?
All good, all good. No, you've got an Arsenal hoodie on. No, I'll do the job, mate. It will do the job.
It's my own branded one, but it's going well. It's going well.
I've just noticed that. Yeah, it's that's your badge from the Discord server, is it not?
Yeah, that's it. One of my friends, she's a embroiderist and she does printing, so she printed me one.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. It looks good, mate. It looks very good indeed. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone joining us, of course, in the chat box. Really appreciate your time, as always, for tuning in for our preview show. Do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. And let's welcome Arsenal Adventure into the chat box as well. Thank you for joining us and becoming a brand new member of part of the channel, and welcome to the family. Let's talk about the derby there. Mike, how much do you think that game against PSV is going to impact the momentum going into this one?
Significantly. I think that was just what the doctor ordered from a number of angles. Certainly one of the concerns was we didn't quite look as sharp in front of goal, and of course we came with a new purpose and a new Jesus and made it happen. Nice to get 4 in the back of their net, irrespective of how naive they were. We still had to do that. And so that's got to build confidence. We get the clean sheet and looked in control of against a team that are very good, whichever way you slice it. However many players they've lost of note, they're still a good team that were unbeaten for 26 games or something ridiculous. So
yeah,
got to be a confidence builder.
Absolutely. I didn't actually know. I feel like I didn't even know that statistic about PSV unbeaten in 26 games. That's, surprising. I mean, they approached the game in a very, I described it as a naive way of playing against Arsenal at home. And ironically, Marcus, Spurs have got a coach that plays in a very similar way as well. And, I think from all intents and purposes is planning on trying to continue that style as well at the weekend. Would that be the wrong approach for Spurs into this one?
I thought you were going to say, was that the wrong approach for us? I was going to say, yeah, perfect for us, yeah. Yeah, in years gone past, it's been that let's hit us on the break, I should say. Yeah. Song, bang, goal every year, just guarantee give them the one goal. So, yeah, this new structure, the new way they play, it will suit us. And, their results this year, yes, they've won, I think, nearly every game unbeaten, but they've conceded a lot of goals as well. So, and as we just said, we scored 4 the other night. Our forwards are on fire now, and I think this is their style of play suits us perfectly.
Yeah, it does. Is there something to be said though, Dan, about the fact that they've come to the Emirates and played counter-attacking football, and it's led to them having this really poor record of them not having won for 13 odd years? If they come with a different style and system, is there an opportunity for them maybe to get some joy from that, I suppose?
No. They're coming. That's what they're coming to do. No, I looked at the previous results, and them sitting back so much, we still basically controlled the game and took over from like very early on. Like the goals, I think we had the 2 goals first half last game, wasn't it, away from home, when they were still sitting deep, and then we beat them. Was it 3-1 at home? Party scored, then Kane got the pen, and then we got more after. Yeah. So listen, I hope they come to try and attack, and yes, we're probably going to have to be on our best behaviour at the back there, no mistakes. But I genuinely think if they come out, we're just going to get in behind time after time. It's just see how many we put in the back of the net.
Look, they're always interesting games. It's fair to say, Mike. You know, these times we've played against Spurs last season, as Dan brought up, we beat them 3-1, 22 shots, 9 on target in that game. And Harry Kane did score a penalty and is not going to be here for the first time in a very, very long time. I would look at that team now and say, well, what their manager is doing is trying to turn them into a team. And he's had a relative amount of success in doing that. But are you sure that they're going to be weaker without him leading the line?
Yes, I'm absolutely delighted he's not against us this year. It was a thorn in our damn side, whichever way you slice it. And yeah, I'm glad to see the back of him, to be honest. So what they've got as an alternative doesn't even come close to what Kane can do.
Maddison not worry you at all?
No. Ramsdale's got major Maddison.
I'm loving this confidence, boys. The hubris is there. I'm hoping it doesn't come back to bite us. I mean, what have you made of their start, Mike? Because they have obviously got the same amount of points as us so far this season with 13, 4 wins and a draw. They've beaten Manchester United. They've beaten Bournemouth, Burnley, and Sheffield United as well, which they kind of scraped past. But it was an impressive display against Burnley, despite conceding 2 goals in that fixture. And, you know, you can say beating Man United, we were very happy about beating Man United in our game when we played them at home. So what have you made of their game so far, I suppose?
Oh, they look a better side than they did last year, without a doubt. But, I mean, that was from a very low base, to be honest. And yes, they have played teams which you would expect them to beat, but then so have we, really. So I still don't think they've got enough to threaten us significantly, providing we go in with the right attitude and we don't give a goal away in the first minute. So we've had enough of that.
I'm still counting down the seconds every time we play now to that first minute. I'm looking at the clock like 58, 59 minute. Yes, we've made it.
I hear you, mate. I hear you.
Indeed, it is hopefully going to be a comfortable afternoon. I mean, what threats beyond Maddison, which is the obvious one, Marcus, when we look at Spurs right now, are you looking at that Spurs team and thinking that they can hurt us in these specific positions?
Well, I'm going for the obvious one. Song, when he's in the mood, yeah, he's scored some quality goals against us in the past. But as you both said a minute ago, a lot of that was involved with Kane. Kane would do the link up, he'd set up Song, but he has scored some crackers against us. So you got to be wary of him. He will miss Kane. I think he scored a hat-trick this season already, but even so, I think he's not the player he is without Kane around him. Maddison, yeah, you've mentioned, and he has made a big difference because suddenly they've got a bit of creativity. So we've got to be on our best. It's a North London derby. You never know. The number of times we've gone to their place thinking we're going to win this easy, and it hasn't happened. So it could happen the other way. But yeah, I think we've still got enough firepower and look much better at the back at the moment. So yeah, all looking good, hopefully.
And final question on Spurs before we go into our lineup, Stan. You know, they, under Postecoglou, have got probably the most likable coach that they've had in a very long time. You know, Jose Mourinho hated him. Antonio Conte hated him. And Nuno Espirito Santo was a bit indifferent about, to be honest. Didn't really have too much of an opinion on him. But Ange does have this aura of kind of like, you know, he wants to be your mate, he wants to be a nice guy, wants to, you know, play the game very well in terms of press conferences. Does he and the project that he is building there concern you, or have you got any empathy for it in any way?
No, not really.
So I ask you these ones.
so I'm not involved, but I think if he had a director or board behind him, it could be a good thing, because you can see that he's here to try to, put a cat amongst the pigeons. Like, he wants to be known, he wants to make his name, but I just don't see it happening under the regime he's under. Like I expect him to finish sort of mid-table. Lower would be great, but mid-table is around where I think they're going to finish. But I genuinely think this is that little bounce that they're having at the moment. I think after the first loss, things will start unraveling and they'll fall apart because I just don't see the squad as being strong enough to maintain this charge for a long period of time.
It has got its weaknesses. I think midfield, in the defensive department of the midfield, there are weaknesses there. I think that at centre half, the depth is not particularly great. And if they lose a Van der Ven, if they lose Romero, there's question marks there as well. And that goes, I think, for the fullback positions as well, to be honest. And look, if they were to lose Son, that's a massive loss. And James Maddison as well. If they lose, and he has had his injury concerns throughout his career. If that happens, what they are like 1 or 2 injuries away from disaster, where you look at our squad and you go, well, we've lost Martinelli, we've lost Partey, we've lost Timber, and we still have an amazing squad that's looking to compete this season, even without those 3. So without further ado, let's go to the lineups and discuss what we've gone for. Marcus, you're up first, mate. Talk us through your selection and your reasons why.
Yeah, in goal, I think after last week, I'm going with Raya. I think now he's put him in. Surely he's got to keep him in, but who knows? But I'd stick with Raya. He just looks so confident. He is, it's signs in the Grand Prix, smooth operator. I think this guy's a smooth operator. He just looks so calm and collected and just, wow, he's brilliant. But Ramsdale did very well before. Back 4, the usual: White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. Midfield, Odegaard, new contract, thank the Lord. Then Rice, of course, who just looks immense. Has barely put a foot wrong this season. I think Vieira's done really well, so I would bring him in for Havertz. Up front, I see today Martinelli, he hasn't said he's definitely out, but you never know where that's mind game. So I think Trossard will play. Jesus looked better the other day, looked fantastic. And of course, Saka on the right. And Jesus, if he plays like the other night, he's my star man.
Lovely stuff. And you mentioned Odegaard there. Do you think the timing of his announcement is tactical in any way? Because as we're aware, it was kind of signed early this month, in fact, at the start of the month. So they've waited a little bit. Right. Did a little bit of filming with good friend of the show, Clive, of course, as well. But they've announced it this week. What do you make of the timing of it?
I didn't realise he'd signed it so early. I did have a feeling from, I think, things that you've said that he had already signed it. But yeah, I think that's a brilliant piece of timing. It's the last thing, they want to hear. And for us, it's a massive boost. The guy is just phenomenal. Hence why I call him Odegaard. I can't have him being called Odegaard because he is a god. So yeah, no, fantastic timing. And yeah, I think that was on purpose.
Yeah. Dan, not much change. In fact, no change. But talk us through your selection and your reasons why.
Yeah, no, exactly the same lineup. Raya, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, White at the back. And Raya, I think, will keep his place purely based off a few things. I think Ramsdale hasn't looked the same since last season, or mid-last season, when he made those couple of mistakes. He cost us points. He's sort of been on a not steady decline, but a very slow decline, to the point now where you don't see him pinging out those passes from the back anymore, or attempting those like through balls through the back line or whatever. He's keeping it very safe. So I think Ryan now, with that extra confidence and the calmness that he's bringing, like he just looks so calm. Anytime he touches the ball, there's no panic. The team are just spreading out, waiting for him. So yeah, I think they're going to stay the back 5. I think Vieira will come back in for Havertz purely based off the fact of they are going to come out at us. So another person who can put the ball in behind, whether it be a through pass or thread the ball through. Odegaard and Vieira together are going to cause some havoc. And then, up top, Trossard, Captain Chaos himself, and Starboy. I don't think you can drop Jesus after his performance the other day. Like, give him another 70, 75 minutes this game, and then rest him if we're a couple up. But I think just from that step over alone, where he sent like 3 players and he almost scored, he deserves to start every game going forward. But yeah, man, I think the lineup speaks for itself at the moment. And Rice versus Maddison, there's only going to be one winner.
I'd have said to you at the end of last season that you're going to be picking Fabio Vieira to start the next North London derby, and you're going to be doing that not through because you have to, but because of genuine choice. What would you have said?
I would have said that is never happening ever. But I did like, there was a couple of elements in his game last year. You could see he had touch. You could see he's got a good eye for a pass. He just wasn't physical enough. Whereas though, I don't know, he just looks like he's got a different turn of pace this year. Like he's getting on the ball and charging at people as if like he doesn't care anymore. And I think that's brought the best out of him.
Yeah, I agree. There is something. I think there is an element of bulking up slightly. I don't think it's like massively noticeable, but I do think there is something to be said about his physique. I think he has been in the gym a little bit, and that's helped him. He's not going down as easily as he was last season. Yeah, he's been on the Nketiah and Miguel Aziz. I remember when Aziz had those photos come out after a summer away. But yeah, he's certainly bulked up, that's for sure. And finally, Mike, you have made a change to the lineup. Talk us through your 11 and your reasons why.
It is exactly the same as everybody else's, apart from Ramsdale in goals. There's a couple of things about the situation currently that I've thought about this a lot. First of all, most of the time when we're looking for new signings, we're looking to move the needle. This is a signing which aims not to move the needle if we lose one of them. So we wouldn't be in a Courtois versus Kepa situation, or we wouldn't be in a Ramsdale versus Turner situation. So it's a risk management tactic from Arteta. Now, that goes along with making sure that both players have sufficient minutes to be able to step in without much of a blip. And there are those who are going to favour Ramsdale and point to the fact that maybe Raya's stats are based on a completely different context in playing for Brentford, in that Brentford conceded the most goals from outside the box in 2022. And then, of course, there are those who would like the Raya because of stats on FPRF. But whichever way you slice it, we've got two world-class keepers, and I'd be happy if either of them start. But I think Arteta will manage that accordingly. I think we're making assumptions very, very quickly. It made sense that Raya played the Everton game because you don't want to chuck him into a Champions League game without any competitive game time at all with this team, because he'd only had 2/3 of a game in a behind closed door friendly to date. So it made sense through, or the assumption was he was going to play in the Champions League, which was by many. Then he had a game before that. But I don't think now is the time where Ramsdale is put to pasture. I think there's a need for him to play, and I think this is a game that Ramsdale understands, and I think Arteta will get that. He knows what it's like in Derby, so that's why.
Yeah.
In a slightly extended monologue.
No, it's good. I like hearing about those types of changes because I think the argument that Ramsdale's experience in the North London derby is a valid one. And certainly if he starts, I think that's what our justification would be for that decision is the experience he has in this game. I think people like Raya and prefer Raya maybe because one of his attributes I think he's demonstrated is his calmness in goal. Like he's looked very assured. He's not looked erratic. And I think that Ramsdale has got a little bit of erraticness at times about his goalkeeping. I don't think it's like it would have never have been something that was a concern for me last season. I think that when you bring a goalkeeper in that doesn't have that trait, it emphasizes that, even though it's quite small in the one because it's apparent in one and not in the other. So if Ramsdale does start this game, my goodness, it's thrown a cat amongst the pigeons, that's for sure, especially after kind of the rants I've had about Arteta not playing him on Wednesday. If he plays him in this game, well, that can all go out the window as far as I'm concerned. So let's see what ends up happening. I have gone with Raya in my team. I think that, that calmness is always going to be important. I think, he's played the last two games now. Throwing in Ramsdale now, yes, he has something to prove, but maybe there's something more about consistency going into a game of this importance. The rest of the team is the same as the other boys. I don't think there's any other decisions. I suppose Havertz or Vieira is the one that would have been maybe on people's minds. He started the game against PSV, had a decent game, I thought, against PSV. Harry did a really good video on the Chronicles of a Gooner channel about what Havertz's contribution to that game was. And I do think that there is something to be said about Havertz this season. His contributions are going to be more for those that, watch games back, and that it isn't immediate apparent from one watch through what he's doing and his role is. And I think that is frustrating from his perspective, probably, but that's what he's being tasked with. That's what Arteta wants him to do, this role where his movement's really key. The types of passes he plays are important, where he pops up on the pitch, how he drags players away in different positions, having his presence on the field, opening up spaces. But Vieira has been, as Dan described, he looks like a slightly different player this year. He's got an energy and an aggression about him that maybe wasn't there last season. And so I would play him in this game in the front three. Jesus gets his first Premier League start. I think he's going to be an absolute nightmare for Spurs to deal with on Sunday. I really, really do. But I've picked Vieira because I'd love to see him, kind of get the fans on board even more with a great performance in a derby. I don't think he started one, so this would be a great opportunity for him to make his name in the North London derby and really get some fans on side. So let's go to predictions. Mike, we'll start with you. Scoreline and scorers, please.
4-1. I think that Jesus will get 2, Odegaard will get 1, and Havertz will come off the bench and put 1 in.
That would be beautiful if that happens. Marcus?
Very similar, but I'm going 3-1, 2 for Jesus and Trossard.
Lovely stuff. Dan?
That's just thrown my idea way out of the park now. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go for an absolute mauling. Let's go 5-0. Saka and Trossard to get 1 each. Jesus and Odegaard to get 1 each. And then Havertz, as he said, is going to come from the bench. And he's going to put 1 in the last 5 minutes. And we're all going to hail him as the saviour.
Lovely stuff. I was going to go 3-0. We talk about clean sheets at home, but Raya there's something about Raya giving me that little bit of extra confidence about keeping a clean sheet here. And maybe that's telling in the whole debate in itself. But yeah, 3-0. I'm going to go with Ben White screamer, obviously. To kick things off, it would be great. Imagine that. Ben White actually celebrating in a North London derby scoring would be a great thing to see. I'm going to go with Gabriel Magalhaes from a corner as well, and Bukayo Saka to score as well, with several assists for Fabio Vieira throughout the game as well. On the volley's going for a 4-1 Arsenal win. Muazzam agrees with you, Dan, says 5-0. Hugh agrees with me, 3-0. In this one, we've got from Mr. E, 3-0 in Raya in goal, 3-2 if Ramsdale starts. Harsh, that is. Very harsh. Amira says 3-1, typical big game at home score. Odegaard, Havertz and Tommy Screamer. It'll happen one day. We're going for a Tommy Screamer as well. Temi says 2-0 with Jesus to get the brace. Mark says 2-0 Arsenal. Paul says 3-1 to the Arsenal. Steve Stone says 3-2 Arsenal, another high blood pressure game. Dan Roberts going for a 4-1 Arsenal. Jesus with the brace. Saka and Saliba with a screamer. Thomas going for a 3-1 Saka, Jesus and Odegaard to get the goals. Arsenal Adventures going 3-1. Boy says 2-0. Babake says 4-0 as well. So did I skip Peeny Ween's prediction? Did I manage to do that? Or
that was in some time ago.
Was it in some time ago? Oh, okay, that's why.
He was too busy going on about
What did he predict?
Okay, well, he's not done it at the time you're supposed to put it in, so I can't throw it up. That's how it works.
I know there was Neo trick in there.
Ajed says 3-2 to Spurs. Wow, that's not a positive prediction there at all. But Melly's going for a 2-0 win. I think that probably is there. So thank you to Melanie for that. To end on a positive. Thank you to the chat box. Thank you to those that are listening on catch up as well. Please drop a like and subscribe and all those good things that you've said. Mike, thank you for your time, mate. Tell people they can find you.
So welcome, Tom, and you can find me in the Discord channel.
Absolutely. Marcus, thank you for your time. Tell people where they can find you.
No problem. Yeah, on Twitter at MJCGooner or in the Discord.
Lovely stuff. And Dan, pleasure to see you. It's been a while. Good to have you back. Thank you for joining us. Tell people they can find you, mate.
Oh, thank you for having me on as always. I'm in the Discord as always. I'm back now after a little hiatus. And then you can also find me on Twitter at Black and White Cannon.
Absolutely. Make sure you check out the guys. They're fantastic. If you want to see them and speak to them more regularly, you can find them all, as they say, in the Discord server. We've launched our parenting channel today, believe it or not. We had a request. I think it's was it from Cayman, I think, requested it. So we got that sorted. And yes, there is now a parenting channel because a lot of our Discord members have kids. And I think, being able to talk about the life of parenting is a good thing. So we launched that in the Discord today. And Pinny did indeed go for a 3-0 win. So there you go. And Saros goes for a 3-1 win as well. Ending the show with plenty of positivity. I hope that we're right and we see plenty of goals in Arsenal's favour, because if we don't, my goodness, if we over-egg this a little bit. But thank you to everyone that's listened. I'll see you again tomorrow morning for a brief 8 a.m. show. And then, of course, we'll be back on Sunday with another one, with Monday being the day to break down the result. That said, I am at home and it's a 2 p.m. kickoff, so we might do a podcast Sunday evening. So watch this space on that. We might do a North London special, depending on the result, of course. If we haven't won, I ain't doing anything for the rest of the day, that's for sure. But thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you again very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.